So recently, I was on itch.io because I was bored, and I found this really fun small game called ULTRAHELL. Basically, it's this game where you're in hell or something, and you're fighting these really cool, really simplistic monsters in this really cool, like, chaotic environment. I love the game, right? Had pretty fun combat, pretty big stakes, and so damn juicy. Almost made me wet. Hold up. Well, anyways, I decided to hop onto Unity and rip this game off with my own twist onto it. Although you should still go play ULTRAHELL because my game is probably going to be nowhere near the funness of that. So, yeah, link in the description so you can play it. You should, please. So if you watched my Game Jam video, you would know I'm a pretty big fan of good looks in games. So I decided to just, draw my sprites first before actually starting the game. Although you might say this is kind of just a waste of time, I really hate looking at the, placeholder blocks you just port into Unity projects you use as your players and enemies. But, just having the sprites early on really helps you get a feel for the game, which helps design it. Since I want this game to be fairly small, I decided to settle with 3 main enemies. First, the Hunter. He'll just be a guy who follows you and shoots at you with a crossbow. Fairly simple, he probably won't be the hardest. Next, we have the Brute. He went through a lot of iterations on what he should do, but I decided that he should have a big spinning object around him. I didn't decide what yet. But yeah, he'll have a big spinning object around him, so you can't come close to him, but it's kind of risky. He can't shoot projectiles at you, so he's just kind of, this risky, slightly melee character. Now, the last character, who will be the weakest of the 3, and basically just, the extra dummy to distract you, is the dog. Don't ask. I also designed these 3 simple bosses, but there's something for another devlog in the future. So first off, obviously, I just had to create the player. So I quickly just imported an old script that I made, which basically is a really simple top-down controller. Next, since I couldn't stand to look at that, basic-looking, simplistic character, I decided to go and play around with some post-processing. I may have gone a bit too crazy with the bloom. After that, I decided to kind of create like this concept for how the dog would act. So yeah, it's a really simple script. It just moves towards me, but it really helped me, continue getting the feel for the game and also test out some of my future mechanics I'll get into right after this segment. So this feature that I just foreshadowed for some reason, even though it was like 2 seconds in the future, was a dash. I love dashes. Hollow Knight has a great dash. Terraria has a great dash, and I literally don't know a game that has a dash that's bad. So, I tried to implement a dash, but after approximately 3 hours of trying, I realized that for some reason, dashing is hard. I don't know why, but my tiny little shriveled up brain does not comprehend how you create a dash in a game. So, since I wanted the game to be based around a vampire, or your character, I decided to make it so you turned into a bat, because, vampires turn into bats, at least in the shows I've watched, like Adventure Time and Hotel Transylvania. So yeah, I thought the bat mechanic would be pretty cool, where it basically made it so instead of you using WASD to move, you moved around with your cursor for a bit, which lets you move around much quicker and much smoother. So after a bit of work, but not too much, I got this bat system working, where you basically press control and turn into a bat. Sadly, in this recording, I didn't have the bat sprite yet, but here it is on screen right now. I think it looks pretty great and pretty simplistic, and I don't know, matches the style. Or tell me what you think in the comments, because this game isn't finished. I'll be releasing more devlogs. Since I now had a pretty basic and general feel for the game, I decided to work on my second enemy, who would be much more complicated than the simple dog. It would be the Hunter. I imagined him to just hold this one crossbow and shoot every couple of seconds. Like, shoot arrows at you, killing you, obviously. Implementing this wasn't overly hard, because I've already made pretty simple prototype projects where I had enemies that shot projectiles at you. But I had another problem. I couldn't just use the dog AI to move towards the player, because that'd be just like if you had a sniper, right? You were sitting like 1,000 miles away from your target, and you could reach him, but for some reason you decided to go right up to his face and like try to punch him, right? Why would you hold a bow and then walk up to this dangerous vampire dude who's just like slaughtering all your friends and just shoot him straight in the face? Now I could fix this with some simple pathfinding, but pathfinding is complicated. If you don't know what it is, it's basically this extremely complicated mathematical formula where you get a computer to go and calculate what the simplest and fastest way is to a certain objective. This could give me like really customizable movement, to make it all crazy, unexpected, and unpredictable. But I'm dumb. I don't understand how the hell pathfinding works. It's more complicated than calculus, I swear. So I decided to think of my own extremely smart method. Basically, I'll just translate it since I can't read my own code, but in simplified terms, I just wrote, if player comes close, speed times -1. If you don't understand what that does, it basically just makes your guy just go backwards when he comes close. Yeah. So I hope I explained this well, and you can put the applause already because I know I'm already. So after all that stuff that I wrote, basically here is the hunter in action. Also here, you can also see the brute here, because I don't feel like giving him an entire section because I don't want this video to be too long. But yeah, you can see he swings the school hammer around him. That's basically it. For some reason, at this point, I still thought my game looked hideous. So you know what time it is? It's time to spend too much time on useless features that are very low priority. Oh yeah. After a bit of research, I found out that apparently screen shake is extremely important to make your game juicy and satisfying because it makes it feel like your player has impact and control over the world. Or at least according to every game developer on YouTube. Don't take my word on that. So I went onto Google and decided to ask it, how do you do that? After some searching, I discovered something called Cinema Sheet. It's basically this really cool plugin on Unity, which gives you a ton of cool camera effects, such as, moving around, kind of like they do in Celeste, and screen shake, which is exactly what I need. So after a couple hours of painstaking bug fixing and actually figuring out how you add and use plugins on Unity, I was able to actually make it work. So let's just see how it works. Well, that's not exactly what I want, but let's try again. After a bit of bug fixing, which I'm concerned I didn't even fix before I actually tested the project, I figured out what the problem is. I was shaking in 3 dimensions, and I'm using only 2 dimensions, obviously, here. So, yeah, it finally works. Here's the screen shake. It works, pretty well, too. And I'm pretty proud of it. So, yeah. This will be the end of this devlog. I will be continuing working on this project. I just want to make a small but not overly small project like Crisis Pigs. So yeah, I decided to start this small devlog series. I hope you enjoyed it. Tell me how I can do better, because I'm not the best at commentary, although I really like doing it. Hopefully you're still here, and if you enjoyed the content, I feel like you subscribing would be pretty damn cool. I'm just saying. So yeah, goodbye. I will probably upload another devlog in the next 2 weeks-ish, but I can't promise anything.